Welcome to Unleashed at Work and Home. I'm Colleen Pilar, and this is where pet professionals come for honest conversations about what it really takes to show up for yourself while serving the animals you love. If you've ever felt caught between compassion and exhaustion, you're in the right place. Here we explore what it means to reconnect with your inner wisdom and rediscover the joy that brought you to this work. Make sure to join my email community at colleenpilar.com for gentle, practical insights designed specifically for pet professionals. Now, let's dive in. Welcome back to Unleashed at Work and Home. My guest today is Allie Bender, who's one of the co-owners of Pet Harmony Training. Welcome, Allie. So glad to have you.
Thanks for having me, Colleen. I'm excited to be here.
So I said Pet Harmony Training, like everyone knows what that is. Tell us a little bit about what is Pet Harmony Training? Because it's not just regular, you're a dog trainer and you do training. It's a little beyond that.
Absolutely. So Pet Harmony, we specialize in animals, primarily dogs and cats, who have behavior issues. And we specialize in complex, extreme behavior issues like aggression, anxiety, fear, compulsions, all of that, what I think is fun stuff. And so we have the pet parent side of our business where we're helping pet parents who have pets with these difficult behavior issues. And then we also have the professional side of our business where we're mentoring other professionals on training behavior and enrichment.
And did that predate your book or did it come as a result of your book? The book that I'm referring to that, again, now you have to tell us what book I'm talking
about. Canine Enrichment for the Real World is our book. And it's a harder question to answer than one might think. So the timeline's a little funky. The book came out in 2019, but we were writing it for 4 years prior. So it took us and by us I mean Emily Strong, my co-author, and I, co-author and now one of my co-owners at Pet Harmony. And so it took us 4 years to write that book. So the starting of the book was when we were working at an animal sanctuary together. So that predated Pet Harmony. We were coaching other professionals still at that time. Like that was part of our job working at the sanctuary. And so, yeah, it all kind of comes together at the same time.
Got it. So the complex parts of the behavior, that is what's really tricky about it all, that everything layers upon everything. And what you're really working to do is to help untangle some of these knots.
Yes.
What do you think has drawn you to that?
I love problem solving. And I love being presented with a sticky situation and figuring out how to solve that situation. I think that's part of why I like being a business owner and all of that is all of the problem solving parts. The actual doing of things, I don't love that part as much, but I love the problem solving part of it. And so I think that's one of the things that really draws me to working with behavior issues, because it is a puzzle and you can't just look at the behavior in a vacuum, in isolation. You have to look at everything that is going on in this animal's life, from their health to their environment to the family dynamics that are happening, everything. And I love that. I think too, when I was growing up, we had a dog, Sid, and he was a behavior case. At the time, we did not know that. It was different in the 90s when we're talking about dog behavior. But I mean, he was my best friend, my brother. I'm an only child, so he really was my buddy, and he had 2 or 3 bites, 2 bites, I think, before my parents, really started, like, working on it. They went to a trainer, to learn about his behavior, but I think he's really who sparked a lot of this
Mhm.
interest in me, of knowing, like, how wonderful this dog was and, he was my family member, and also my parents were having to navigate very serious behavior issues with him.
Yeah, which is so hard. It's so
Yeah,
hard on everyone
yeah.
because, the dog doesn't understand the complexities of the human world.
Yep,
And there we are going, well, how come you're not managing this well? Because you're such a nice dog. We love
right.
you. We love you. Why are you acting this way?
Yeah.
And it's a tricky, tricky thing. So, have you always been drawn to this kind of work? Well, here's a question I like to ask everybody.
Yeah.
When you were 10, what did you think you were going to do with your life?
10, okay. So, I remember wanting to be a vet,
Mhm.
wanting to be an author,
Mhm.
and wanting to be an actor of all things.
Okay.
Um, yep, I who knows?
They all go together.
I do, and I do a little bit of all of those things
Mhm.
now. So I think I was pretty steadfast on on who I was gonna end up being when I was little. 13 is really when I started getting into animal welfare and wanting to really make that my career, but I've kind of always been this.
So lead me through. So at 13, you started getting into animal welfare, and so then presumably you graduate from high school, and what happens next?
Yeah, so at 13, we adopted, another dog, Bear, um, and and that was who got me into the, like, learning about animal homelessness in the United States, so at that time, I decided I was going to open an animal shelter,
Mhm.
and
As
it's
every 13-year-old decides, no problem.
every 13-year-old decides, totally normal thing to do. Um, and that was my goal for 10 years. So, yeah, that was my goal for 10 years. So, I started volunteering at 16. So this year marks 20 years officially in animal welfare for me. So I started volunteering at 16. I graduated high school. I went to college for animal science with a minor in entrepreneurial studies. I did internships at shelters. I was in the honors program. My honors thesis was about environmental enrichment in shelters and how that affects adoption rate. Like everything I did
Yeah,
was for this. So yeah, I was a totally normal teenager is what I'm saying.
totally normal, just like
Totally.
all the rest.
Yes.
I think that's so cool. Animal science and entrepreneurial like, that is a lovely combination for
Yeah.
that desire and for where you are right now and
Mhm.
all of that. So then so you don't own a shelter.
I don't own a shelter.
Newsflash, you don't. But you work in one. Um, so take me through the trajectory then. So you graduate with this degree, this is still your plan, you're working toward it.
Yep. Yeah. So, I after graduating, I ended up I think I had, like, 4 part-time jobs. It was hard to find full-time in animal welfare. It still is, but it was at the time that I graduated, it was even harder. Um and so I was working part-time at a shelter. I was working part-time at a local, low-cost spay-neuter clinic, and the spay-neuter clinic, ended up offering me full-time, maybe a year later, as their program manager,
Mhm.
and I was like, "This is perfect. It's everything I'm going to have to do when I open my shelter, like, this is going to teach me all the rest of this," and I absolutely hated that job. And so I had this, like, quarter life crisis of everything that I've done for almost half of my life has been to open a shelter, and I don't think I want to open a shelter anymore. What do I do?
Yeah.
One of those part-time jobs was dog training, and it was the only job part-time job that I kept when I went full-time at the clinic. And at some point, I was like, I think I just want to train dogs. Like I had always loved behavior, even when I was in school. I took a lot of courses on enrichment. I took a lot of courses on behavior. And one of my goals for having a shelter was being able to work with behaviorally challenged dogs and cats. So that was always a piece of it. And I was like, I think I just want to train dogs. And that's when I went and worked full time as a dog trainer at the sanctuary.
So you say you took a lot of courses on enrichment and behavior in college, which I'm kind of impressed that there were a lot of courses to I mean,
Yeah,
that's fabulous that they
yeah,
were available for you to be taking because I'm actually a little bit surprised that you could have had more than one. Like, to have had one, it'd be like, "Yay, there was someone who was focused on this," but to have had a few is pretty great.
yeah. I did piecemeal some of it together. Like I took human psychology courses, and then the person who ended up being my advisor for my honors thesis, she was the one who taught the enrichment courses, and her thing was enrichment for swine. And she did a lot of study. I went to Iowa State. It's an agricultural school.
Mhm.
So, like, I know a lot about pigs and cows and things. But yeah, so she did enrichment for pigs. And so she had an undergrad course. She let me do her graduate course on enrichment. And yeah,
That's fabulous. I
yeah,
mean, I wasn't aware that that was being taught at that level, which is amazing
yeah.
because, enrichment for swine is important
Yes.
and also something that I was not aware was being offered back when you were in school, which
Yeah,
is, not last semester.
correct. It was less common then.
Yeah. Okay. So there you are now, you're at the sanctuary,
Mhm.
and what did that teach you? What was that experience like for you?
It taught me a lot of things, not all good things, I will say. Um, it was I I will say one of the things that I'm grateful for from being there is I learned really, really quickly how to work with pets with behavior issues.
Mhm.
It's I had been shadowing the behavior consultant at the training facility that I was working part-time at in hopes to, eventually take over for her and all that. But anybody who's gone that route of shadowing somebody to learn knows that it's a lengthy process to really learn all the things. And I got a crash course at the sanctuary. I mean, I was working with kiddos who I hope to never meet dogs again that have those particular issues, that have those histories. Like, you learn very quickly how to not get bitten. um, like I learned more in the almost 3 years there about how to work with serious maladaptive behaviors than I would have in 10 years outside of
Yeah.
that experience.
Yeah, for sure. And so and that's where you met
Emily.
Ellen.
Emily.
Emily. Yeah. Okay.
It's hard, they both have E names.
Yeah. Yeah. And I started it right and then corrected it to be wrong, so good for me. Um, so so you and Emily met up there,
Mhm.
and then what happened?
Yeah, so, we met there, she left a couple of months before I did. She moved to Salt Lake City, started her business. I then moved to back to Illinois. started my business. And but yeah, we started while we were at the sanctuary. We started writing Canine Enrichment for the Real World. We also started working on like a shelter education program that is now no longer really existent anymore. We took a pause with COVID and decided to not unpause afterwards. Um, and we started kind of dabbling in mentoring while we were there as well. So a lot of projects started while we were there, and then we took them into our individual businesses.
So talk to me about the value of mentoring for all of those trainers who are out there not getting the crash course in all this behavior that you had at the sanctuary, but seeing behavior. Like, it's out there.
It's
We've
out there,
all walked into someone's living room and been like, oh, more than what was described in advance.
right?
Uh,
That wasn't on the form.
yes, did not anticipate this. Now let's do something. So mentoring, how did that come to pass? How did you step into that role?
Yeah. The how, I think, is really because of Emily. That's how many of the things in my career have come to pass, is because of Emily. I didn't wanna write the book, and she made me. So,
Okay,
yeah, like,
good.
she believes in agency except for me. I'm
That's
go
that's
I'm
fair.
yeah, I'm just gonna do things for her. Um Yeah, so, she was the one who really had an experience with a mentor. I didn't per se, like, I had the behavior consultant that I shadowed with. I wouldn't necessarily call her a mentor, though, I was learning from her, but it wasn't necessarily, like, that particular mentor-mentee relationship that I
Mhm.
now know about. But Emily did have those relationships, in her career, and so she was the one who really got me on board with this and got me to understand how valuable it is. And now that I do have those relationships, I yeah, fully a convert, 100% believe, 1,000% believe in that, and for a few different reasons. One is, on like the training and behavior side of things, one of the things that the sanctuary afforded me was a really large internal database
Mhm.
of, when you see this behavior, you've seen it 100 times. Here are all the variations you've seen. And so it's really easy to pick up trends outside of that experience because I have this enormous internal database of thousands of dogs. Um, and that's something that people not working in, like, a large scale facility don't get. It takes a long, long time to build up
Mhm.
that database, and so one of the things that is really cool about watching people in our mentorship program is that they are able to start building that database by watching other people's cases, by
Mhm.
hearing other people talk about their cases. And so it's like, okay, you don't necessarily have to work in a large scale facility.
Yeah.
You can start learning by just like being surrounded by a bunch of different cases that you're not even
Mhm.
working. On the personal side of things, a mentor is going to see your gaps better than you do and push you when you need to be pushed. And so, um, I actually just signed up for a new program, like a marketing mentorship
Mhm.
program. Um, and while we were doing the discovery call, they asked me like, "Okay, like, how do you want, your coach to be working with you?" And I was like, "I want somebody to kick my butt. Like, don't hold my hand. Don't tell me that I'm doing well. I have people in my life that are very supportive. That's not what I need from you. I need you to tell me that I'm wrong." And like, drag me kicking and screaming to do the thing that I know I need to do that I don't wanna do. So, that's how I prefer to work with a mentor. Of course, not everybody is like that. Um, but that, having somebody be able to see the gaps in my knowledge, being able to see the self-limiting beliefs that I have, being able to see how I am getting in my own way when it comes to achieving my goals and calling me on it, whether that is, very, uh, kindly, supportively, or the way I prefer, which is just tell me and I will tantrum, and then I'll come back in 3 days and I will do what you say. That's just
It's nice
been
to know your
I do.
cycle, you know?
Yeah, yeah, and so I tell them, like, "I'm gonna tantrum, I'll come back, and I will do exactly what you say, so just, like, just ignore the feelings that I'm having, I'm fine." I have the skills to navigate that. So, um, yeah, like, that has made me have so much faster progress than anything else, trying to do it by myself.
Yeah. Yeah, there's such a value to working with somebody who wants what's best for you and wants you to be able to achieve it. So
Mhm.
it's sort of looking at, like, how to support you and move you in the direction you're going, as opposed to has their own agenda for you. Like,
Yeah.
it's a really careful line. Um,
Yeah. It
and
is.
that's one of the challenges of kind of working with colleagues or friends about some of these things is that they are a little bit invested in how you choose to move forward.
Yes.
And they can pressure with
Yeah.
good intentions, but
Yeah.
sometimes not fully seeing that, like, your own personal development, your own
Yeah.
experience is the key. I think that it's so valuable because the work you do and the work I do are similar and different, because I'm not working specifically on how to help people with their behavior plans or any of that part of stuff, but I am working on, like, some of the self-limiting beliefs and some of the things of, like, I know I should, but I'm not. There's something I want to do, intend to do, and am not doing, that kind of stuff.
Yep.
Um, and there's just such value in having someone to talk to about those things, and also having it in group situations where you can suddenly realize, it's not just me. I'm not alone. I'm not the only one. All of these people who I thought had all the answers don't actually have all the answers either. They're figuring things out and they're actually really amazing and competent without knowing everything.
Yeah.
Oh, so it's okay. That's okay. Which is just mind blowing for people at times because we have been raised in a structure that says, like, there is a correct answer. There is one correct answer, and we will give you a test that will tell you exactly what percentage points you did toward getting exactly right. And life is so much messier than that.
Yes, yeah. And especially when we're talking about training and behavior, it's so much
Yeah.
more than that. And our industry really tries to push that narrative of there's one correct answer and this is the way to do it. And it's like there are 20 correct answers. What are you talking about?
Yes, which brings us around to that whole "it depends" answer that is so frustrating to people, and also the only real answer
Mhm.
in any given situation, because we do need to have somebody who's gonna look at the nuance and all of that. One of the things I really appreciate about Pet Harmony is the attention you pay toward how much effort it will be for the family to provide the care. Like,
Yeah.
here's the recommendation, and, like, we can see on paper, this works.
Yeah.
Ta-da! And what we sometimes don't see is the human wilting as they imagine trying to implement the plan. And that's a tricky piece because these behaviors are important and complex and often um, life threatening or certainly stability threatening
Yeah.
for people. But we have to find a way to meet the human needs. So, I mean, obviously, I'm jumping ahead in my head of, like, this is sort of a duh question, but it is a piece that I have seen missing in so many people's work. So tell me how it became so important to you guys to prioritize that, to make it really front and center. Is this doable?
Yeah. Um, that's a wonderful question. I don't think that's a duh question at all. I think that's a great question. Um, I don't know that there was like a singular aha moment for me where I was like, the human learner is just as important as the non-human learner. I think there are a couple of things that stand out for me. Um, One, which I won't go super far into the story so that you don't have to, like, add a bunch of, like, content warning stuff, but, there was a really, uh, traumatic experience that I witnessed at the shelter or the sanctuary, sorry, and, um, and it happened to one of my very close friends, and it was very interesting, being with her, after, taking her to the emergency room and all of that, and then, being in her house and helping her out and all of that, and people coming by and, explaining why this dog just did what he did to her and explaining away if if I'm being totally honest. And I remember having this moment of, wow, you do not care about this human being nearly as much as you do this dog. And I have really, really big feelings about
Mhm.
that. And I think that was a really defining moment for me of the human has to matter as much as the
Yeah.
dog does. And so um that definitely shifted a lot of my mind, when it came to, like, sheltering and all of that. And then I also remember, coming back to Illinois, starting Pet Harmony. I was also working contracting at some other businesses, doing behavior consulting for them as well, while I was growing my business. And, I still had the human is important, but I didn't necessarily know how to implement that in a behavior plan. And so, I would see these clients and I was like, I can do better. Like, I can get better. At the time, I would have called it compliance. That word's kind of gross, so now I'm calling it
Mhm.
cooperation. Like, I can get better cooperation. I can get better results. I can get better follow through. Like, what is the thing that I'm missing here? And really, it was just a lot of trial and eval to be like, oh, the thing that I'm missing is implementing the human learner is just as important as the canine learner in this situation and figuring out how to implement that even though I already had that belief. I just didn't know how to do it.
Yeah. So I ask all of my guests to share words that have meaning for them. And you've already demonstrated your words so many times in our conversation, but the words that you shared are be the change. So
Yeah.
tell me what those words mean to you and like when they came into your awareness and why they're ones that you hold on to.
Yeah, that was one of the easiest words to choose. There are several, but, I was in, Kohl's of all things and and found, this ring that I wear all the time, and it says, "Be the change you wish to see in the world." And I found it when I was starting at the shelter right after graduating, and so that, like, it just really stuck with me of like, okay, if I want to see change in this shelter, which I did, I'm going to have to be the one who does that change.
Mhm.
So, I started an enrichment program. I started, working on training the kiddos who were having problems, all of that sort of stuff. Um, and so that's really I had heard it before, but it was really what stuck with me was just, like, wearing those words at this time where, like, I was really focused on making change. Um, and then the day that I took my CPDT, uh, test, that's the word,
Mhm.
um, uh, I went with another trainer. This was at the sanctuary. I went with another trainer, and we decided we are going to go get our first tattoos after the test to, like, celebrate, and so I have "Be the Change" tattooed on me.
Awesome.
Yes. So it's, I truly carry it with me everywhere
You
I
do.
go. But yeah, and I still think about it regularly. I mean, it helps to have, you know, visual reminders at all times, but I still carry it with me of, there are a lot of things that I do wanna see changed in this world, and that has to start with me.
Yeah. It's really beautiful. Thank you. I love that it's like a ring that you found in Kohl's is still on your body and, like, becomes a tattoo.
Yes. Yeah, it's you can't really read the ring anymore, but, you know, that's what the tattoo's for.
And, as your ring is changing, it's evidence that you are being the change. Like, the
Yeah.
ring cannot stay the same
Yeah,
because you are living your life and using those hands and doing things with them.
exactly. I love that. That's beautiful. I love that.
So what's something that you've learned about yourself or the world, with regard to your work in animals as a result of your work with animals?
I've learned so many things. It's honestly hard to choose just one. Um,
I don't limit you.
I
Choose
appreciate
whatever you like. We'll talk all day.
I appreciate that. Um, I think honestly, I think one of the things that I've learned most in the, you know, 20 years of animal welfare, 10 years of having pet harmony is the importance of community and
Mhm.
what that word really means. Um, and like just everything comes back to that. It's just so, so important. I see in the pet parents that we work with, once we give them, that emotional support that they need and like how much they're willing to take on for their dog when they just have some support from another human being and like being able to be that person for them. And then, in our mentorship program, it's so interesting because, uh, they get mentors, they get, course curriculum, they get all these things, and it's the community that makes the biggest difference
Yeah.
in their lives and their career, like, hands down. And it's so hard to explain that to people who haven't experienced,
Mhm.
like, a truly safe, supportive community that, as you said, cares for you without an agenda attached to
Yeah.
it. And that's something I think that's so lacking in our world. And the more I experience and all of that, just the more that is the answer.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. And it's interesting too how we feel comfortable reaching for more education, for more tools, for more, but it can be difficult to reach for community. It doesn't feel as safe.
Yeah.
Or even as like inherently valuable. Like we can see investing in, you know, a conference or a course that's going to teach me something tangible that at the end of this I will know how to
Yeah.
whatever. Um but the reality is finding people with whom we can be full people and
Yeah.
say, I'm actually pretty excited that I'm getting better at this, and I'm a little bit stressed that I'm not making progress on this, and just be ourselves. Like, none of us has it all figured out, and have people accept and appreciate what we've got. That's so, so valuable, but we haven't created space for people to really learn how to lean into that yet. So that's one of the changes that is making your community
Yeah.
and mine. Um, like we're trying to find places for people to be fully human doing the work that they care about so much, without having to be perfect at it.
Yes. Yeah, and yeah, being and I think too, like, people do want that, and it's also so scary because there are so many unsafe spaces
Indeed.
for learning. And
Indeed.
yeah, like, I tell people when they're inquiring about our program, and they're asking about the community, I was like, we created a space that we wanted to hang out in. We hadn't found one yet." And so we're like, "We're just gonna do it ourselves." And, yeah, I think that's hard, but I do see, like, the ripple effect in that of, like, the work that we're doing, the work that you're doing, of, like, when people understand, like, "Oh, this is what community is," they're able to then, like, start making those strides in their own world and with the people that they know too.
Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing how the ripple effects of just supporting anyone in stepping into their full humanity has powerful ripple effects because people are doing the best they can. And when we can help them do better, they do better. Like,
Yes!
period. End of story.
Yes!
Oh, yeah. So, if I had a magic wand that you can use to give a blessing or a wish for pet professionals everywhere, what would you give us?
Oh, that's hard. Um, I'm gonna say a thing that sounds kind of like a jerk thing to say. Critical thinking skills. Is
Okay, we'll take it. And how is this going to help us?
um, so many ways. So many ways. Um, one is imposter syndrome. So, um, I talk to a lot of professionals. I work with a lot of professionals, and they are telling me that they have imposter syndrome and all of that. And when we dive into it, eh, there can be many, many reasons behind that, and some of them are not things that, I am equipped to handle, and I'm like, there are mental health professionals that can help you with that piece of it. But what I find a lot of times is because, again, our industry pushes this narrative, there's one right answer,
Mhm.
and once you, like, unlock the secret of this right answer,
Mhm.
then you are going to feel confident, and that's just, like,
Mhm.
not true.
Yeah.
And what I see in Pet Pro, our mentorship program, is as people are learning those critical thinking skills, they're able to see past that, where they're like, "Oh, no, that's a ridiculous premise, actually." And all these people touting, like, this is the one way to solve leash reactivity, this is the one way to solve separation anxiety. That's not true. There are a lot of ways to solve all of those things, and you need lots of ways if you're going to be able to work with different humans, and different environments. And so, like, I've seen those critical thinking skills really help, break down some of the things that we see in the industry that are causing people to have imposter syndrome. And I think the other thing too would be there would be so fewer internet arguments
Mm.
if critical thinking skills were a thing that not just our industry, that, like, all humans in the world had, where, like, I've seen some arguments where it's like, y'all even aren't talking about the same topic. Like,
Yeah.
like, this
Mhm.
okay, or, arguments where it's like, y'all are saying the same thing, you're just using different words.
That was my in-laws. Like, when I first met my in-laws, I would just sit in a room and watch them yell at each other, and I'd be like, "But I think they're in agreement. I think
Right.
if we could just say this," and but they were just terrifying to me, so I did not ever wade into the middle to go, "So here is point A, and here is point B, and if you'll notice, they overlap by 98.7%, and we're yelling. Could we
Yeah.
try this differently?" But yes, critical thinking skills would help with some of that too.
Yeah, so that's my answer.
That's a very good answer. So, given that I don't have a magic wand, um, which is sad, but I'm still hoping for it. It's coming. Uh,
I believe in you.
what what would be a great first step for us as we're trying to develop our critical thinking skills
Mm,
before the magic download occurs?
yes. I wish there were more resources for how to learn those. I'm sure Emily probably knows them because this is like her jam. But I think one of the things that really helped me was just learning about the different uh, like logical fallacies and cognitive biases and having names for those and being able to see when they're happening in myself and other people. And so I think this is a case where like more knowledge is actually going to be the first step of it I wouldn't have known about any of those things. And even now, it's so funny. I mentioned that I like mentors who push me and I know that I'm experiencing like a cognitive bias where my internal belief is being attacked and that's why I'm having this reaction and all of that. And so like knowing this is what is happening to me, this is a normal thing, that like this is just how humans go about the world. And also, that's what's happening. That's why you're against this thing that they're saying. It's not because you're actually against this thing. It's because they just challenged your worldview, and that is perceived as an attack. Um, that helps me just like go through faster, knowing like this is what's happening to me right now.
Yeah, that's very helpful. Thank you.
Yeah.
Um, all of this has been really helpful. You're full of helpfulness,
Thank you.
which goes well for your career. So,
Thank you.
if people wanted to learn more about you and your work, how could they do that?
Absolutely. We do have our own podcast, Enrichment for the Real World.
Hmm.
So that is a great place to learn more. And we do talk about, you know, critical thinking skills and all of that in
You
there.
do.
But otherwise, our website is petharmonytraining.com. We have a blog. We have lots of things on there. And then Facebook and Instagram at Pet Harmony Training. We do have at Pet Harmony Pro for professionals on Instagram and TikTok.
I will link up to all of that in the show notes. So thank you very much.
Thank
It's
you.
been so fun talking to you today, Allie. I really enjoyed this.
Me too. Thank you, Colleen. This is great.
That's our conversation for today. If something we talked about resonated, I invite you to sit with it. Notice what feels true and what you want to explore further. You don't have to have it all figured out to start moving toward what matters. Whatever showed up for you today, clarity, questions, even resistance, trust that it's pointing you towards something important. For more support, join my weekly notes at colleenpilar.com. And until next time, remember, you are enough. Always, just as you are.